It's great to have you on the show today. And
hello,
maybe,
Wole.
as we like to do, maybe a quick check on the central bank's auction this week. Can you just run us through the results? What I'm hearing is that they sold $178 million today.
Yes, Wole, that's where the numbers are for today. They offered 200 million but sold about 178, as you said. So there's a slight softening of demand. Again, we haven't seen demand so strong in the few weeks up till now, and CBN used the opportunity to revalue the currency by 1 kobo. So the stop rate is 155.77 for today.
We've come very used to this, but I just try to imagine if we didn't have these weekly auctions from the central bank, and if it wasn't this structure, we'd probably have a very volatile FX market, wouldn't we?
Yes, it does help to smoothen it out a bit, but think about, well, actually demand is quite soft because this week we've had only one auction because of the public holidays. So we're talking about 177 for the whole week, whereas usually we have between 400 and 450. So we're seeing some softening in demand. Again, the Naira has been supported by the amount of inflows that have come in for investment. So even in the autonomous market, interbank, there's quite a bit of support for the Naira, trading about 157.20, 30 in the past 1 week.
But we've also seen the oil majors supply dollars, haven't we? I mean, we've seen some flows from the oil majors as well.
Yes, we have. We have supplies this week, and then we usually have, some towards the end of the month. So yes, we've seen quite a lot of that from the oil majors. So again, demand at the WDAS is soft, and there's been, even in the interbank market, rates have been stable.
And in the interbank market, what rates are we at to close the session today?
157.20.
157.20.
And yes, and those are the levels we've seen for about a week. Maybe some mild appreciation there as well.
So very, very stable Naira we've seen over the last few weeks. In fact, I think it has actually gained in the third quarter. So I think many foreign investors will be happy about that. But let's move on to the interbank market. And what I'm hearing here is that there's massive liquidity available. What is going on?
That's on the Naira side, yes. There's been a lot of government flows into the market. Again, we're at the end of a quarter, so some flows have come in this week. Market was already liquid last week before we received additional allocations. So yes, rates are very soft. They're 10.5. I'm not sure the market has touched 11, maybe briefly, but 10.5, 10.8, 10.2. That's where we're seeing rates.
And for the bond market, what I'm hearing is profit taking today across the curve, or is there any part of the curve that we're seeing a lot
maybe
more?
Just one or two, not across the curve, just a little bit of that. But generally, yields again after the listing on the index, on the JP Morgan index. Yes, there's been some yields generally went down, and it's been like that. Maybe some slight retracement, not much, not up to 50 basis points, but we've seen just a little bit. Yeah.
As foreign investors take profit in this on their positions, of course, we've seen yields move 300 basis points over the last 6 or 7 weeks. Are we seeing outflows? Are we seeing people taking money out, or do you think that they're just repositioning to get back in somewhere across the curve?
We think they're repositioning because there hasn't been much sign of money going out. There are still opportunities, so we think it will be more of a repositioning. There are also attractive opportunities. Treasury bill yields have come down. They've come down significantly from the 15% highs, but at 12%, it's still an interesting investment.
What about the OMO intervention that we see from the central bank? And we're moving back to perhaps liquidity management, and to some extent I know it does have an impact on the fixed income market as well. Can you talk to us about that? Because this was a big issue after the MPC. To what extent is the central bank going to be intervening through its OMO operations? Well,
the OMO side has been pretty interesting, because last week we saw quite a bit of divergence between the OMO stop rates and the primary auction rates. OMO rates were maybe lower 14, higher 13, and then generally what we saw was that central bank was selling a lot less than they were offering, meaning that they were trying to keep the range within a certain level. There was an OMO auction today and there were no sales at all. Rates were between 14 and maybe 14.8, which shows that they're gradually trying to push the yields down below 14%. So that's been very interesting as well.
All right, and let's talk a bit about the subnational bond market. I'm sure it's not something that trades actively, but do we see any activity at all? I mean, we know Lagos State is in the market, and we're hearing that Gombe State is just about to enter the market. There are several other states like Rivers State that probably would be in the market by the fourth quarter. To what extent are these subnational debts traded?
Well, they would be interested in them now because, well, before now, the cost of borrowing has been quite high. It's good for the investors, but if you're the one floating a bond, you'll want to come in, you'd like to come in at single digit, but certainly it's better to come in at 12% than to come in at 15%. So this is a good time for a couple of states to say, yes, we can afford the burden, the coupon repayments will be okay, and to bring those deals to the market now, this is probably a good time to do it.
It's certainly a much better time, I mean, compared to, say, 2-3 months ago.
Compared
to
15, 16%.
Absolutely. I think Gombe is issuing at about 15.5%.
Yeah.
But what I wanted to find out is, do we see any secondary trading for subnational? Is it a popular thing? Is it growing in popularity at all? Because I think that's usually the concern of investors.
Okay. Well, no, so far, no, not yet. We haven't seen. There is some activity, but not. You cannot compare it to the FGM bonds, which are extremely liquid. No, there isn't that much. It doesn't trade that much. Not yet. I guess it will develop as the market deepens.
All right, Kubi, thank you so much for the update.
All right, Wole.
Look forward to speaking to you again sometime soon. Kubi Momoh, Head of Market Risk at UBA, giving us a perspective on the Nigerian fixed income and FX market.